Welcome, everyone, to the Winstel Cup Series on ABN. 10 races down, 10 to go in the Winstel Cup Series season. The summer break rapidly approaches, as does the greatest weekend in motorsports. Before that, we have a couple more tips of business to take care of here tonight. Winstel Cup Series action from Chicagoland Speedway, Joliet, Illinois, just south of Chicago. Hosts the Winstel Cup Series. We've got the old Gen 4s ready to go racing here. Everyone getting in tune, getting in sync. For those watching with us on Patreon or on YouTube, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the Winstel on ABM. Points going into tonight's event. Halfway through, it's Gabriel Mauricio top of the board. Christian Budd sitting second best, 30 points adrift from the top spot. Jose Solis Jr. making it a three-horse race at the top of the standings. Top 12 make it into the chase for the Winstel Cup. Emily Howell safely in that top 12, sitting fourth ahead of Dylan Roberts. Colin Keister sits in sixth ahead of Brennan McGee. Andy Trupiano, Christina Ryan, and Sean Pellig make up your top 10 here entering Illinois, not Indiana. Don't want to get in too much trouble there. Jacob Potak, the defending Winstel Cup Series champion, sits in 11th going into this race. It's been a feast or famine season. He typically does well at these abrasive racetracks. We'll see if that goes 3 for 3 for him here tonight. Josh Chen also typically does well at these types of racetracks. He'll need to do a little bit better. It's a very tight margin in the top 12. Mike Rasmus just 5 points out of the chase entering tonight in Chicagoland. Andrew Ferrier sitting 14th, Kirk Marble, Michael Guest, Parker Alexander, Brandon McKissick, Evan Locke, and Lucas Davila make up the top 20 going into this event. Nick Doucette, Blake Cannon, Tyler Head, and Tom Willett, your top 24 going into this. And we'll look a little further down because the conversation does constantly sort of revolve around how everything looks in the top 35 conversation. Larry Pace firmly in that conversation. There was never really a doubt. He has performed really well this season. Despite not being at every race, he has done extremely well. I think that needs to be said pretty handily. Alex Bates sitting 26th. He's also done pretty well to stay safely in that conversation. It should not be surprising that he is sitting top 20, top 35 easily. Ryan Andrew, he should be higher than 27th. His pace has shown that he's better than 27th. The results just haven't been there, and that is the unfortunate part about the entire scenario. But that is where we're at right now. Ryan Hill, 28th. Philip Snipes in 29th. 30th is Tyler Murray as racing gets closer and closer to fruition. Brandon Cobbinger, Ryan Moyer, Jeff Yinich, Jordan Barabee, and Ryan Daly make up your top 35. Those are the drivers that were locked in safe going into this. Everyone else had to pre-qualify. Brandon Cruz has provisionals, has supporters provisionals, those that help financially keep Winstel going. Brandon Cruz has not had to use those until now, but now he's got provisionals in hand that he can use later on in this season to try to get back into the top 25. Didn't mean to make that go away. Misclicked. Behind Brandon Cruz, you have Evan Melanson, Thomas Lewandowski, TJ Crampton, Craig Lautenslager, Kyle Benson, Chris Champeau, Tom Wetmore, Aaron Smith, James Grantham, Anthony Kroback, Lucas Smith, Steve Brown, and Lucas Strayer all having to try to qualify their way in to this event. Logan Kress, he's only done a couple races so far this season. He also has to try to qualify his way in, despite being any NASCAR pro driver. He's not top 35 in points. He's got to get there. Austin Reedy, top 50, ahead of Corey Cook, Corey Steinhauser, Bryce Saucier, Zach Tyndall, Hayden Rapaw, Ken Huff, Hunter Waters, Matthew Seeger. Only attempted a couple of events here. Now currently inactive, Chris Bishop and Vincent Crow. Your top 60 in points right now. Alex Chilcutt, Christian Schrader, a lot of part-time drivers in this conversation. Rory Collins, Bailey Thompson, Rocky Boyd, Eli Sasick, Dan Breckus, Joseph Boehner, Colin Bowden, Matthew Molnar, Ty McWhirter. You see 83 drivers have attempted to qualify for at least one race. Steve Yenish, Tyler King, Dale Davis, Ryan Doucette, Tyler Saville, Mike Alexander, Anthony Foss, Joseph Peixoto, Matt Skipper, Michael Sturgill, and Steve Buchanan. The 83 that have attempted at least one Winstel Cup Series event. Qualifying is not far away from taking place here for the Winstel Cup Series. I believe we're just in less than 5 minutes away. So we'll take the time to shout out some of our premier tier Patreon subscribers. Been a wonderful 3 months since we've really kind of kicked up activity over on Patreon. Trade Ups Logan, thank you for a year of support. You started supporting us back when we first opened our Patreon last year. Dogman2935, Eli Sassick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head. All 3 months and counting of support. Thank you so much as well. B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, and Blue. Blue just having a 1 month or 2 month anniversary yesterday. Joined the 2 month club. KJ Gibney, James Wright, and J-Pod joining during the best month of motorsports, the month of May. Thank you all for your support. If you're subscribed to us on ABN via the Plus subscription on Patreon, don't worry. There'll be a little ticker at the bottom of the screen that has everyone's name included in that as well. If you want to be a part of it, very easy to do so. QR code or the description down below can help you get started. Have a bunch of extra content. HTL coming up and around the corner. A lot of interviews, driver spotlights, and everything else coming up as well before the 8th HTL Daytona 500 tomorrow. Countdown to Green begins at 7 p.m. exclusively for Patreon subscribers. Race coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night as well. But also, if you're on Patreon, you can watch every live stream we do now that we're simulcasting on both YouTube and Patreon. So just a little more convenient to have all that extra content and the regular stuff all in one place as well. So qualifying almost ready to go here in Fontana, and you can kind of see what the practice times look like. Tyler Head is the fastest, 30.397 at the moment. Corey Steinhauser letting us know that he is in the main show. He has failed to qualify for several of these, but he's won sort of the best of the rest group in the meantime. He is on the racetrack here, ready to go for the main show. And we are glad he is here. Corey Steinhauser, who we're talking about here. And you're going to see him on your screen. There he is. Good old Camping World 77, that Ford Fusion on the racetrack at the moment. Happy to see him back on the racetrack. Well earned. Has to be well earned. It's a dogfight to get into the Winstel Cup Series field. He knows that, and he's been on both sides. Sitting 37th fastest. Happy for him. We do have 43. It looks like all on the racetrack here. Brandon Cruz safely in the show. Didn't need to use provisional. Was safely able to qualify in. And so we have 43. Brandon Cruz, actually 27th fastest at the moment. So he is not only better than good enough to get into the field after missing the top 35, he is sitting right now top 30 on pace as things sit. So good job him. Matthew Seeger on the racetrack. He is not inactive. They just don't have a number for him in the points system. But here he is, car 98. That Valvoline Dodge running around right now. He is 24th fastest, 30.638 for Matthew Seeger. Waiting to see one of his friends from Delta Sport also make an appearance on the racetrack, Ethan Winters. Also having to qualify his way in. They both do successfully. To those that know Matthew Seeger and Ethan Winters, no surprise for either. while we are in the running. Gotta make sure everything is running well for us. And to do that, we're going to check to see if we have all of the paints properly in place here. Lucas Davlo's going to be one that we focus on for a moment because he's the one that typically we need to make sure we try to adjust. And of course, the tiny screen falls away from us just as we get ready to go. But qualifying now underway. Who was the first one on the racetrack? Indeed, I believe it is Alex Bates. Alex Bates in that flame-broiled Burger King machine on the racetrack right now. And he is the first one to do so. And there's a lot of drivers on that conversation right now. Lucas Davila on the racetrack, Dylan Roberts, Nick Doucette, Evan Locke, Brendan McGee, Josh Chen, Brendan Coppinger, Jacob Potak, Philip Snipes, Gabriel Mauricio, a bunch of drivers on the racetrack. Emily Howe, Christina Ryan, Larry Pace, Ryan Moyer, Tyler Murray, Chris Champeau, Evan Melanson. The list goes on and on, but 43 cars for the better part. We'll try to qualify. A couple will sit back. We know Corey Steinhauser will be one of them. But everyone else will be part of that conversation. Alex Bates, you only get one lap, similar to what it is in HTL qualifying typically on Monday nights. It is the same way here. You got one lap. Dance that car around on cold tires and see what you get. Alex Bates across the line. What is his lap time? It'll constantly evolve whether he's going to have a good lap time or not. 30.713. And immediately some of the fast times come on into the conversation. Philip Snipes, 12th fastest, make that 13th fastest as Christian Budd goes provisional pole. Lucas Davila starting his lap. Needed a reset here. Trying to gear up. He has been pretty good in qualifying this season. Stepping that car out of turn 2. Chicagoland, very unusual. It has that curved back straightaway. So you get to use a little bit more at a turn 2. It continues to turn a curve away from you a little bit on the exit. We'll see what he's got. It's Budd and Roberts, your top 2. Kyle Benson, P3. Ryan Moyer, top 4. Davila goes top 10 for the moment. We'll see if that changes. Sean Peleg and the 4800 Motorsports Chevrolet. He is finishing a lap. Let's see where he goes. Hits the wall hard, but that's after the finish. He goes 8th fastest. He was giving it absolutely everything. Matthew Seeger, let's see where he goes. He qualified in, went through pre-qualifying to get into the field. And here he is. Hangs it well out to dry at a turn 2. Both him and Ethan Winters on laps right now. We'll see where the two Delta Sport drivers end up being. Ethan Winters goes 18th in qualifying provisionally. Matthew Seeger, does he go faster? No, 21st. Two of the favorites for tomorrow's HTL Daytona 500, and they will start into the back of the field tonight. Emily Howe crashing in qualifying. Christina Ryan crashing at the start of her lap in qualifying. They will start into the back of the field. Andrew Ferrinares goes 19th fastest. Brandon McKissick in the fence. He will also take a start near the rear of the field. Blake Cannon in the 88 and the pedigree Yates Racing Ford sitting right now, going through 3 and 4. If he sets a time at all, it's top 35. But he knows he's got pretty good pace in that 88 machine. Where does he go? He goes P3. Good pace indeed. Ford, Chevrolet, front row. Ford, Toyota, row 2. Dan Breckus on the racetrack now in car number 40. That Tums machine for Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabatas. Surging through the corner here. Philip Snipes, 30.74 was his best lap in 35th. Dan Breckus will try to beat that time to get a better starting position. Corey Steinhauser beginning his warm-up lap. He will not set a lap in qualifying, but he is doing a dial-in lap to get that car ready to go for the race here. Dan Breckus will finish his qualifying lap, and he goes top 20. 20th fastest, as you see Steinhauser, last car on the racetrack. Steinhauser coasts it around. The qualifying will come to a close. With that, we get ready for the starting grid. It is Christian Budd and Dylan Roberts at the front of the field. Going to be an absolutely wild time as we get ready to go racing. Christian Budd, Dylan Roberts, Blake Cannon, and Kyle Benson is how things line up right now. So let's go over the full results here. Christian Budd, Dylan Roberts. It's close there for second, but Christian Budd had a 10th in hand, almost 2 tenths. Or sorry, almost 200s, excuse me. Christian Budd, 200th clear of Dylan Roberts almost. Blake Cannon and Dylan Roberts within milliseconds. Kyle Benson also in that conversation in row 2. Then a little more of a gap to Ryan Moyer and Thomas Lewandowski in row 3. Nick Doucette, Andy Trupiano in row 4. Larry Pace, Sean Peleg can wake up row 5, your top 10 here in Chicagoland. Tyler Head, former champion along the defending champion in row 6. Jacob Potak will have to do better than 12th to try to get himself more comfortably into the chase conversation. Lucas Stablo, we saw him qualify provisionally, was top 10 for a moment, dropped to 13th at the end. Jordan Barabee in the 14th position alongside in row 7. Josh Chen, James Grantham in row 8. Row 9, Craig Lautenslager and Brennan McGee, before you get to Steve Brown and Dan Breckus, who make up your top 20. Full starting grid, with pictures included, be at the bottom of your screen as the field gets ready to roll here in Chicagoland. We're excited to see how everyone plays out here. The USG Sheetrock 400. It's a USG Sheetrock Ford Fusion at the front of the field with Christian Budd. Some pretty big names further back in this field as well. Ethan Winters qualified 22nd at the end there. Evan Melanson in the field. He qualified 24th. Matthew Seeger, 25th on track. Eli Sasek in his 4th Winstel Cup Series event in 27th. A lot of familiar names we'll see tomorrow night as well. Brandon Cruz, 31st, alongside Gabriel Mauricio, your points leader. A lot of trouble for cars in qualifying here. They've got a lot of work to do in the race tonight. Not a lot of time to get things done, that is for sure. Almost showtime. We are glad you are with us. This is going to be a very, very fun event. Brandon Cruz wishing everyone a good race as well as for those that are watching at home. Brandon Cruz made the show here. Starts 31st in that 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Again, your points going in. These are the drivers currently in the chase for the Winstel Cup. If it were to start today, it doesn't, but it's not far away. Mauricio currently top of the board. Christian Budd, your pole sitter for this race, sitting in second. Solis, Howe, Roberts, Keister, McGee, Trupiano, Ryan, Peleg, Potak, and Shin, your top 12 on the inside. Rasmus, Ferrinares, Marble, Guest, Alexander, McKissick, among those on the outside, trying to find a way in. All of it's very important. You got to try to get it right here in the Winstel Cup Series and before the summer break as well. Luckily, you've got a little bit of time to get things right, but your mulligans are running out. Christian Budd and Dylan Roberts, they are both currently in the top 12 in points. They'd love to add to that. Blake Cannon, Kyle Benson fighting for something different, and that's just security to get into the field. The USG Sheetrock 400 is done. Hey, we're racing in Chicagoland. Cars dancing around all over the place, but we complete lap 1 under green flag conditions. It is Bud that leads the way. Keep an eye on that 24. Jacob Potak felt really confident. So he was really good on these tracks where the surface is a little bit more abrasive. Qualified 12th, 11th in points. Needing to be a little bit more helpful. Caution is out, and it is for Dan Breckus. The 40 car up in the fence. That 40 car, significant damage on the front end for Dan Breckus here. So caution for the first time tonight on lap number 3. And we'll take a look as to why. Looking at the 40, that blue car, middle of your screen, middle 3 wide. That is Ferry-Nares in the 74 to the bottom. The 38 on the outside lane. Trying to squeeze on through. Big contact there. That's James Grantham, the 38. But the majority of that damage is worn by the 40 in a pretty significant way. And that car apparently is too damaged. He has had to receive assistance back to pit lane. And that is likely day done for him. Let's look at it in full speed. It happens quick. And you can sort of see there, Grantham just sort of came down the racetrack trying to side draft off the 40, and instead of side drafting, just straight up hooked him and put him in the outside fence. And you see the damage from the 40 truck, and the 40 car ends up just not making it back at all. And you sort of just see, once again from high above, you can follow the seams pretty well. And Grantham just kind of moves down a little bit. Looks like a little bit of a latency there, a little bit of net code. Helps pull the 40 around, but that's one of those situations where usually iRacing is predicting what's about to happen within a second of it happening. And kind of just begins the job early. And Grantham ends up biting a piece of it as well. And Dan Breckus' race is over. Really, before it started, 43rd is where he'll end up in this race, unfortunately. As Christian Budd leads the way over Blake Cannon, Dylan Roberts, and Thomas Lubandowski. Kyle Benson completes the top 5 at the moment. Didn't mean for that to come back on. We're not going through the starting grid again. At least I don't think so. We are going through the restart order. Christian Budd, Blake Cannon, Dylan Roberts, Thomas Lewandowski, Kyle Benson. That's your top 5. Some early pit stop goers here. Just a handful. Doesn't affect too often much of the top 10, though. Sean Pellig in 6th. Andy Tripiano in 7th. Ryan Moyer in 8th. Jacob Potak in 9th. And Nick Doucette, your top 10. Larry Pace, Lucas Davila, Tyler Head, Josh Chin, Jordan Barabee, your top 15. And then it's Craig Lautenslager, Brandon McGee, Andrew Ferrinares, Kirk Marble, Ethan Winters, top 20. Gabriel Mauricio, your points leader, 21st right now, ahead of Evan Melanson. Matthew Seeger, 23rd. Jeff Yinich, 24th. Lucas Strayer, 25th. Philip Snipes, Chris Champeau, Emily Howe, Alex Bates, Brandon McKissick, your top 30. Your lower 10 begins with Eli Sasick, Brandon Cruz, Evan Locke, Ryan Daly, Michael Guest, Parker Alexander, Steve Brown, Brandon Coppinger, Tyler Murray, Christina Ryan. And then your final 3, Corey Steinhauser, James Grantham, and then Dan Breckes, your first retirement here of the night, only completing 2 laps here in Chicagoland. Pace car pulls in. It is Christian Budd and Blake Cannon that lead the way. We're back underway here in Chicagoland. Everyone gets underway immediately. Jacob Potak got a little squirrely, trying to get to the outside of Kyle Benson in the 83 car. And that green and yellow machine, quite the departure from the regular DuPont, number 24. Blake Cannon gets to the front of the field, side by side with Christian Budd, trying to get clear into turn 3. Some progressive banking around Chicagoland. You can run similar speeds across all 3 lanes. What are you more comfortable with? Christian Budd said, I'll take the middle, thank you, and takes the lead right back. Dylan Roberts sitting in 3rd. Further back, Lucas Davila battling Larry Pace. You have 31 of Ryan Moyer battling Nick Doucette, and that Menards number 15 for DEI. Former champion Tyler Head in that 4 car once again reunited. Car in the fence, that's Moyer struggling to keep that car going, but he does. But drops down into the 15th position. Andy Tripiano, middle 3 wide, Benson to the wall. Doucette on the white line. And Benson gets the best of that exchange and stays ahead of both Tripiano and Doucette. Everyone getting really comfy here. Tripiano and Benson battling again. Tripiano gets the advantage there. And does get to that 7th spot as Christian Budd tries to battle back on the inside lane for the race lead. Lewandowski also closing in on that conversation. Here comes Dylan Roberts battling for 2nd, using all of the racetrack, including the apron. Try to go for that 2nd spot. It looks like he's going to really drive out of the corner in turns 1 and 2. Can't quite get clear, though. Otherwise, it would have been almost perfect for Dylan Roberts. Instead, it just makes the rearview mirror for Blake Cannon just a little bit more cloudy. Here comes Roberts. He does get clear out of turn 4. Chasing down the 88 is Dylan Roberts. Cannon leads, but the pressure is still intense. Christian Budd drops the 4th. Lewandowski up the 3rd. Outstanding so far. Still trying to chase him down. Meanwhile, the 48 of Peleg. Mooncar driver Sean Peleg looking for 4th place. He's got it. Botak next up in line is Hendrick Motorsports teammate. Trying to take on Christian Budd. Sean came off of a career season last season. 2 race wins. The first time he had won more than 1 race in a season in his Winstel career. He'd love to get that going before the summer. It took him all the way until Sonoma to grab that race win last season. He would love to get one right here in Chicagoland. It's not his home track. That'd be Michigan. But it's also not far away. Side by side, Cannon on the outside. Roberts was inside for a moment, has to slot back in line, and here comes Lewandowski in the 80. Trouble for the 66 of Evan Melanson. And he got hit with a latency penalty. Had to go back to pit lane. And now is back on the lead lap, but behind Parker Alexander. Multiple laps down. Lewandowski pressuring the 8 of Roberts. As the 2 Chevrolets battle behind the Fusion of Blake Cannon, who we knew had pace going into this race in Chicagoland, and is showing it in full force. Christian Budd has dropped down to the 6th spot under pressure from Kyle Benson and from Andy Trupiano. Those 2 continue to fight for the 7th spot, make that now for 6th, with Christian Budd now in the foray. Behind them, Larry Pace, Tyler Head, Josh Chen, and Ryan Moyer will all get around. Lucas Davila, who got loose in 3 and 4, and will lose several spots down the 13th place, goes the Argentinian. Farabee 14th, Lautenslager 15th. And Lautenslager has his hands full with the 5. The points leader, Gabriel Mauricio. Brazilian trying to surge forward, trying to stay ahead of Kirk Marble in the 09. Henley Howe went from 40th to 20th at the moment. Battling right now with Andrew Ferry-Nears just behind Matthew Seeger. Everyone dancing around the racetrack at the moment. Parker Alexander's day is over. We have 2 retirements, Dan Breckus and Parker Alexander. Melanson stays running. He's going to need a lot of help in this race to get better than 41st, though. Now still battling with Ferry-Nears. Brandon McKissick making himself appearance in that Texaco Havoline 42 for Chip Ganassi. And this group closing in together. Howe goes well up near the fence, trying to keep things rolling. Brandon Cruz comes down the pit lane. Looks like that is standard service for Brandon Cruz. He will go a lap down as pit stops take place a little bit early. A little bit of contact further back, almost 4 wide. Ferry-Nears in the middle of Seeger and McKissick. McKissick makes the most of it. Starting to get a little physical in the mid-pack. Brandon McGee making himself known. There's Nick Duchatenay Dayglow Yellow 15, Menards Chevrolet. Evan Locke also there in the Holiday Inn 33. Ethan Winter is not far away either at 39. That Gin Racing. I don't know why I keep saying Gin. It's Gin. Gin Racing 39. Behind Jeff Yinich, the 27 at the moment, running around on the racetrack. Michael Guest also in that conversation. In the 46, car coming down pit lane. That looked like Andrew Ferrinares. It was. Ferrinares and Cannon come down pit lane. New race leader is Thomas Lewandowski in car 80. Ahead of your defending Winstel Cup Series champion. A little bit of latency there for Lewandowski as Potak wants to go for the race lead. Said he felt really good about being on these more worn-out surfaces, and this is why. Unfortunately, he needs a lot more of them to show that champion's edge that he had last season. A lot more cars coming down the pit lane. Benson, Mauricio, Seeger this time around. As Potak gets clear, but gets into the fence immediately and gives the race lead right back to Lewandowski. And that's sort of the issue that Potak has had this season. He's been in a position to be more favorable, and it's gone away. Potak overdriving this one. Giving the race lead right back to Lewandowski in the turns 1 and 2. Potak's got the pace. Find 100%, not 105. Find 98 if you're running 100. Just step it down just a little bit. There's still a long amount of time in this race. You've got time. Isolate yourself from the rest of the field and let the car do its thing naturally. So some early pit stop takers. Jordan Berry comes down. So does Michael Guest this time around. Looking at a firm two-stop race. In trouble, Ryan Daly spins. And caution comes out mid-pit stop sequence. Ryan Daly this time, our second caution of the day. Trying to come down pit lane. I'm assuming something was seriously amiss on that entry to pit lane with where he spun on the exit of turn 4, and he immediately came down pit lane and drove through it. Didn't even come down for service. Because he's trying to stay on the lead lap. So here's what happened. Ryan Daly in the 72. Does he spin himself out or does he get a little bit of help? Coppinger, the 45, pretty well off to the right to him. Lanson's ahead of him in the 66. Not on the same lap. Does Daly just spin himself out? That's Blake Cannon, who had just come down pit lane. And he's kicking himself because that puts him in a bit of a hole. Yeah, Daly just missed pit lane altogether. Was trying to keep it really, really late. You see that where the caution really comes out there. Tyler Murray got turned by Eli Sasek. Murray was trying to avoid. Sasek probably couldn't see if he was off to the right. And Daly just gets it off the racetrack there as soon as he could. And so, unfortunately, Ryan Daly missing pit lane has interrupted pit stops under green. And that'll frustrate a lot of cars. Jordan Barabee having to use a wave around, so will Michael Guest, so will Blake Cannon. And there you see, Blake Cannon will actually get the free pass on this. Very busy pit lane. Out of pit lane first. That looked like Dylan Roberts ahead of Christian Budd. Andy Trupiano, Tyler Head, Lewandowski, Peleg, Moyer, Chen, Pace, Davila, your top 10. And Potak repairing damage. The 24, Jacob Potak, drops from the top 5 entering pit lane now sitting outside the top 30. That is a gut punch. Trying to get damage repaired, and it looks like it's substantial. He tagged the wall a couple times. That second one, after he had just passed Lewandowski, the most significant. Dylan Roberts leads the way. As we get ready to go back racing, Dylan Roberts leads the way. Christian Budd sitting in P2, second place for him. Andy Trupiano in third. There you go. Tetherhead in fourth. Thomas Lewandowski sitting top 5. Sean Pellig in 6th. Ryan Moyer in 7th. Josh Chin in 8th. Larry Pace in 9th. Lucas Davila sits in the top 10. 10th place for him at the moment. Ahead of Brandon McKissick, Craig Lautenslager, Kirk Marble, Emily Howell, and Brendan McGee, your top 15 in this event. Second caution, second restart coming up. We're going to have a chance to do this, so let's go ahead. And for this restart, let's crank it up. 40 laps down, 40 to go in the USG Sheetrock 400 here in Chicagoland. Dylan Roberts leads the way by about a half a second over Tyler Head. Christian Budd sitting in third. Sean Peleg in fourth for Hendrick Motorsports. Andy Trupiano, top five. Thomas Lewandowski in sixth. Brandon McKissick in seventh. Ryan Moyer in eighth. Lucas Davila in ninth. Emily Howe from 40th to 10th. We rode on board with her during that Crank It Up. And she was battling, got around Larry Pace. Fended off from Kirk Marble. Now trying to close in on Lucas Davila there to move further forward in the field. Marble there in 11th. Nick Doucette in 12th. Josh Chen, we saw him drop back earlier. He tied the fence. Now battling his way back forward, battling with Larry Pace for the 13th position. Evan Locke not far away in 15th. Being hounded by Brendan McGee. Jacob Podak, your defending champion. We saw him get around Christina Ryan during that Crank It Up segment. He is now back up into the 18th spot. Remember, he started this race in 12th. Said he felt really good about his chances, and he felt like he kind of threw it away there when he tied the fence trying to pass Thomas Lewandowski for the lead earlier. Had to take over a minute of repair work to get that car back into a raceable condition, and he still has not broken even yet in that 24 car. Chris Champeau in 19th, Craig Wattenslager in 20th, being pressured by Christina Ryan. Christina Ryan in 21st, ahead of Ethan Winters. Michael Guest in 23rd. Also in that conversation, as Winters tries to look to the outside, Guest looks to the bottom of Christina Ryan. Thinking about putting the 84 3 wide to complete lap 45. Instead, they all stay in line. At least in the turns 1 and 2 this time. Guest once again goes to the bottom. Christina Ryan stays middle top. And Ethan Winters goes up towards the wall. Everyone trying to find some clean air. Not only just to have a little bit better handling, but to preserve those tires a little bit. Try to get the tires to go as long as possible, because you don't want to be one of the people that pit early, like what we saw in the first green flag pit stop sequence that got interrupted by a caution, and it pinned people a lap down. Very painful situation to be in when that happens, because you know you're not alone, and it's very hard to get any of that back once it does happen. Christina Ryan under pressure from Winters and from Guest. Jordan Barabee behind Philip Snipes and Alex Bates, who are all in that conversation as well. Gabriel Mauricio, a very below average day for him. He is 27th right now in car 5. The points leader having a difficult day as he battles with Blake Cannon. Both of them have had pace to be way better than this. So does Kyle Benson, who, one of those that came down pit lane early with Blake Cannon, is lamenting that decision. But that is the hole that they dug, and they likely are going to do it again. They took wave rounds to get around and back on lead lap last time through, so they are at a deficit compared to the race leaders at this point in time. Only 2 retirements, Parker Alexander and Dan Breckus. Everyone else still rolling at this stanza. Battle further back between Tyler Murray and Matthew Seeger. Tyler Murray, a little bit of damage from that contact with Eli Sasek on that second caution when Ryan Daly spun around. A little bit of latency for Jordan Barabee, the 47, spooking the 88 just a little bit. Blake Cannon as he was trying to approach for that 25th position, or for 26th, excuse me. Blake Cannon will move up to 26th with eyes on 25th. Philip Snipes now. But it's difficult work. You can see Ryan Daly. There's Evan Melanson, not on the lead lap, but still in that raceable condition in that 66. Remember, he lost laps due to a technical issue, not because of damage. So he's looking for a little bit of help. He'll move out of the way for those on the lead lap to sort of duke out of amongst themselves. He would love for them to wreck without him being involved. That would help him get laps back here. He is the only car off the lead lap at the moment. Troy Steinhauser behind Brandon Cruz in 40th place, the last car on the lead lap as things currently sit. Battle further forward, Trupiano, Peleg, and McKissick 4th, 5th, and 6th on the racetrack, trying to chase down Dylan Roberts, Tyler Head, and Christian Budd in that order. Also in this conversation, Thomas Lewandowski in 7th, that number 80 machine. You just saw blink and come back on your screen. Car coming down pit lane is Kyle Benson. So Benson does have to come down pit lane early. That's sort of just the bed you've made. You got to lie in it for a second and see how things pan out. Coming to 29 laps to go for the race leaders. Dylan Roberts looking for a race win in that Budweiser Chevrolet. Tyler Head getting closer and closer to that fight. We'll see how things pan out here. But everyone knows what's coming. You got to get some work done here before pit stops hit, because pit stops, this will be the money stop when we get to it. You can lose or win everything that you want on pit lane. Tripiano around Peleg. Peleg in 6th. Lewandowski 7th. Philip Snipes down pit lane now. So is Andrew Ferrinares and Brandon Cruz. Some more cars going a lap down here. Taking these pit stops under green, taking them a little bit early in the hopes that they can get some of that position back on the undercut. When they'll have fresher tires, they'll be a little bit quicker than those around them. And in the running. Tyler Head has gotten himself around Dylan Roberts, so has Christian Budd. So new race leader Tyler Head. 2 former champions, 1st and 2nd. Ahead of perennial contender Dylan Roberts in that number 8 machine. Brandon McKissick in 4th. He's normally good for at least 1 win a season. We'll see what he's got. Someone missed pit entry. Not sure who it was. There's a lot of smoke over there, though. Mauricio coming out of pit lane now, looks like. Larry Pace, Jordan Barabee coming down pit lane this time. 26 laps to go here in Chicagoland. Larry Pace getting to his box. So does Jordan Barabee. And Tyler Head comes down pit lane this time, coming to 25 laps to go. Lucas Davila does the same. The Argentinian pits from the top 10. Doucette, McGee, Locke, Yenich all down pit lane. And it's going to become a busier place. Bates comes down pit lane as well. So give us 8 cars this cycle down pit lane. With Christian Budd, Dylan Roberts, and Brandon McKissick now your top 3. Tyler Head was the first of the leaders to blink. Who blinks second here and responds to the race leader? Nobody. All 3 stay out. At the front of the field, the first person to come in this lap is Potak, Guest, and Lautenslager. Christina Ryan comes down pit lane as well. Lucas Strayer comes down pit lane. We haven't had said his name much in that 41 car. Matthew Seeger comes down pit lane as well. That gives us 21 cars that need to come down pit lane before this race comes to a close. Those staying out longer, they're thinking the tires are a little bit more valuable at the end of the stint. And I would struggle to argue against that as cars come down pit lane in mass. Budd, Roberts, Tripiano, Lewandowski, Moyer, Howell, Cannon, Champeau, Murray, and Coppinger all come down pit lane. The amount of cars still running on this racetrack without a pit stop left. I'm sorry, with a pit stop still left to go is 8 cars. McKissick, Peleg, Chen, Marble, Winters, Brown, Sasek, Steinhauser have all yet to come down pit lane this time. A lot of smoke, a lot of lockup smoke there as Peleg and Marble come down pit lane this time. You see even more smoke from cars leaving their boxes and smoking those tires around a little bit. McKissick continues to lead. There's Josh Chen in 2nd. Steve Brown in a very distant 3rd. And you have Tyler Head, who is currently the first car a lap down at the moment. waiting for the leaders to come down pit lane so he can get that lap back and potentially get to the race lead. Huge moment coming down pit lane for both McKissick and Chen, but they both come down pit lane, and they both come down pit lane without a penalty. But you see McKissick, he missed his box. Big time missed his box. Steve Brown well overshot pit entry, but also avoided a penalty because he made it within the commitment cone, that cone you see on the left side of your screen. He made it, but he almost completely blew pit lane. Deceptive pit lane is what you saw there in play. For those that stayed out a little bit longer, and old tires makes it even more difficult. Tyler Head easily at the front of the field. Lucas Davila, though, right now sitting in the second spot. Davila came down pit lane the same lap as Tyler Head, a lap later than Larry Pace, 5 laps later than Kyle Benson. For the 1 in the 83, this is best case scenario. They have gained spots from where they were. They were struggling just to be top 10. Now they're sitting pretty well in the top 5. Dylan Roberts rounds out your 5th position ahead of Thomas Lewandowski. A lot of pressure, a good fight coming up there between the 8 and the 80. And then you have this group who's got some monsters in it. Doucette, Kotak, Trupiano. Philip Snipes is having an absolute day. He made an undercut strategy, pin left 52, middle of the sequence. And it's worked out for him. He is sitting top 10. He doesn't have many of these on his season catalog. You want to look at it, he's got 1 top 10 prior to tonight. This is his 11th race of the season. He has made every single start so far, and only 1 top 10 to show for it. He is looking for another one. He's got some buffer room, importantly, to the likes of Michael Gust, who is sitting 1 second and change away. But you see the Hornet's Nest, that's right there. That's Guest, Peleg, McGee, Howe, Barabee in the 47. Mauricio is in that conversation now, and Evan Locke. And then not far from Evan Locke is where you'll find the 31 Orion Moyer, teammates there for Richard Childress Racing. Kirk Marble in 19th in the number 09 machine. Jeff Yinich in the 20th position in car 27. Ahead of Josh Chin, Craig Rottenslager, Alex Bates, Christina Ryan, and Blake Cannon, your top 25 at this particular point in time. And the unfortunate news to report, Christian Budd in 40th position, speeding on pit lane, got held with a stop and a hole penalty for speeding on pit lane. 40th off the lead lap. He is the first car right now, 1 lap down, if my data serves me correctly. Tyler Head, the race leader who he was battling with, far and away right now at the helm. A little bit of a battle here between Blake Cannon and Christina Ryan and Alex Bates and Matthew Seeger. Let's throw the 90, sorry, that's the 17 of Christian Budd. Seeger is about 2 seconds away from this battle, so this is 3 cars in a trench coat, battling for the top 25 positions. Lucas Strayer is in a battle, though, with the 22 of Chris Champeau for 28th position. There's Brandon McKissick in 27th. We saw him with a very slow pit stop, almost missed his box altogether. Still on the lead lap, thankfully, but he has a lot of work to do. He had a very abysmal pit stop. Just about everyone that came in pit lane late, McKissick, Steve Brown, they all struggled pretty massively. Josh Chin down in 20th was the one that suffered the least, and he is still well and truly away from the top 10 conversation. Philip Snipes has been caught by this group, these hounds of dogs, just running around the racetrack, and he has dropped out of the top 10. In the top 10 now is Emily Howe, former Winstel 400 winner, HTL Daytona 500 pole sitter for tomorrow night's race. She'll head from Chicagoland to Daytona Beach overnight to get ready for the season opener in HTL. We'll be right here on ABN. Race coverage on YouTube at 8 p.m. Countdown to Green on Patreon begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow evening. We hope you join us for that as well. A lot of fun racing to be had as we get ready for the most wonderful weekend in motorsports next weekend. Motorsports fans, it has been a Christmas period. Happy holidays for those that celebrate. At the front of the field, this is a battle for third position. Dylan Roberts under a huge amount of duress from Thomas Lewandowski. That is for third. Trupiano in fifth. Jacob Potak in sixth, a little more distant, as the 200 Motorsport teammates run sixth and seventh. Mauricio, the other 100 Motorsports car, the 5 machine, sitting down in 18th place, the points leader going into this race. Remember, there were 3 cars in that conversation. Not Jacob Potak, Gabriel Mauricio, Jose Solis Jr., and Emily Howe. Solis not present, serving a suspension for incidents that happened the last event we were at. Emily Howe now in the 10th position, and Mauricio in 18th. Will help shake the points up at the top of the standings pretty healthily at this stage. Potak loses that 6th spot to Peleg, and Sean moves forward into 6th, trying to chase down Trupiano to get into the top 5. Robert still under a lot of duress, trying to catch up to Lucas Davila, the Argentinian, looking for a potential podium at the moment. 3 top 10s, no top 5s. Missed 1 race, but that's fine because you have drop rounds. There's been 2 of them so far. So you can just drop that absence as a drop round and keep the other 8 results. Trying to hang in to this podium position. 10 laps to go here in Chicagoland. It's close, and that battle for third is getting closer to becoming a battle for second place, but Davila's hanging in there for what he's got. I think Dylan Roberts and Thomas Lewandowski just a little bit better at running on older tires at this point, and they're going to really give Davila a hard time battling for that podium. 9 to go. Davila in second, Roberts in third, Lewandowski in fourth. Davila takes the lane that Roberts was in the exit of turn 2. Roberts goes to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get that second place away. Tyler Head loves what he's seeing. He's a 1.5 seconds clear of this battle for second place, which Dylan Roberts now has. And Lewandowski gets around for third. Davila now has draft. He's got something to work with here. Let's see what he can do. Pella gets around Trupiano for fifth. That was in the same screenshot out of turn 2. Philip Snipes comes down the pit lane. Again, he came down pit lane earlier on lap 52. Is there concern about them not going all the way to the end of the race? That is a huge question at this point. He came down pit lane on lap 52. A lot of people came down pit lane on lap 55. Car off the racetrack for just a moment is Corey Steinhauser. He got loose out of turn 2, went into the grass for a moment, saves it. We stay green as the laps tick away. There's Tyler Head coming to 6 laps to go, getting ready to put the 77 a lap down. And the moment that happens, Christian Budd's day and last gasp hope of getting into the free pass position would go up in flames. How much does that lap traffic fight Tyler Head? Lewandowski's up to second, got ahead of Dylan Roberts. The 48 of Sean Peleg up to the battle for fourth with Lucas Davila, who's trying to hang in there for a top 5. It'd be his first of the season. If the Argentinian can hold on, he's going to lose fourth to Peleg, who has been on a charge. Got around Potak, got around Trupiano, gets around Davila. And that Mooncar driver's got some wheels to him. Up to fourth, and he's closing in that battle to try to get to the podium. With 5 laps to go, don't count out that Lowe's Chevrolet. He's got some wheels to deal here in Chicagoland, coming to 4 laps to go. Trupiano closing in on Davila for that top 5 position. Davila can kind of feel it slipping away from him just a little bit. But if he can hold on, it's still going to be one of his best results this season, because there is a decent amount of gap, 1 second plus to Jacob Potak in 7th. Michael Guest sits in 8th. He's done a good job charging through the field later on, just keeping his head down and working forward. So is Josh Chen, He was 20th last time we saw him. He is now in the top 10, battling for the top 9. He is in 9th ahead of Emily Howe. Kirk Marble in 11th. Larry Pace sitting in 12th ahead of Ryan Moyer, but that's a tight fight there. And there's fights further forward as well. Christina Ryan looking to get around Craig Lautenslager for top 20. Everyone duking it out, but Tyler Head has the cleanest air of everybody. But it could be close here in these last 3 laps. Everyone's searching for real estate. Steinhauser up in the fence, trying to stay out of the leader's way. I think the leaders largely appreciate that. Davila in 6th. He's got to hold on for a little over 2 laps to stay in that 6th spot, ahead of the defending Winstel Cup Series champion. Tyler Head comes around to 2 laps to go here in Chicagoland. In the suburb of Joliet, Philip Snipes comes out of pit lane. He will see the checkered flag, but he will be down in 41st. And the white flag is not far away for Tyler Head. Tyler Head at the front of the field. Lewandowski closed the gap in a pretty decent amount, down to about 6/10, but will not have enough time. The white flag is in the air. This is the final lap in Chicagoland for the USG Sheetrock 400. And Tyler Head looking to return to victory lane. Car on the bottom of the racetrack, that is Tyler Murray, staying out of the way of the race leaders. Out of turn 4 for the final time. He's going to return to victory lane for the first time in 2026. Tyler Head wins in Chicagoland. Thomas Lewandowski finishes 2nd. Dylan Roberts takes 3rd. Huge battles here. Christina Ryan goes for a spin and is not the only one. It is chaos further back. I believe that was Kyle Benson that went for a slide. A lot of contact here. And, whoa! Lautenslager and Ryan, we saw them battling for 20th. Lautenslager ended up 19th. Goodness gracious. Let's take a look at that white flag lap and see what happened further back. A lot of contact after the checkered flag here, or coming to the checkered flag. They were catching up to Mauricio, who we also saw in the fence. This is a replay on your screen right now of the final lap from the mid-pack, where we saw the drama unfold after the flag had been crossed. Mauricio shuts the door on Lautenslager in the 99. Ryan in the 84, shadowing. Oh, that's exactly what happened. Lautenslager came down the racetrack on the 84. And she was not super enthused about it. That's exactly what happened. Lautenslager came down the door because it put Christina Ryan from 20th to 25th. That was a pretty devastating move there. We have podium interviews after this. But let's jump in for a moment and look at the results here from Chicagoland. Race results on your screen. You're going to find Tyler Head, your race winner, ahead of Thomas Lewandowski and Dylan Roberts. We'll talk to all 3 of them in just a second. Sean Peleg in 4th, Andy Trupiano in 5th. Lucas Davila holds on for a season-best 6th place ahead of Jacob Potak, your defending Winstel Cup Series champion. A good recovery after hitting the wall earlier, battling for the race lead with Lewandowski before the halfway point. Had to get some damage repaired and got back up to the top 10 in 7th. Michael Guest, Josh Chen, Emily Howell, rounding out your top 20 here, or top 10 here in Chicagoland. Your top 20 looks a little bit like this: Kirk Marble, Ryan Moyer, Larry Pace, Nick Doucette, Brennan McGee. Your top 15: Brandon McKissick in 16th, Evan Locke in 17th, Jordan Barabee in 18th, Craig Lautenslager and Gabriel Mauricio rounds out your top 20 here in Chicagoland. And you see further back, Jeff Yinich, Alex Bates, Kyle Benson, Chris Champeau, Christina Ryan. We saw the drama on the last lap there in the mid-pack between Lautenslager and Ryan. Blake Cannon, 26th. Lucas Strayer, 27th. Steve Brown, Matthew Seeger, and Brandon Coppinger round out your top 30. A lot of race finishers here. 41 officially at the end of this one. Eli Sasek in 31st. Ethan Winters, 32nd. Ryan Daly, 33rd. Andrew Ferrinares, 34th. Brandon Cruz, 35th. James Grantham, Tyler Murray, Corey Steinhauser, Christian Budd, and Evan Melanson, your top 40. And all of them saw the checkered flag. Only one on this last page, Philip Snipes, saw the finish. Parker Alexander and Dan Breckus end up failing to finish here in Joliet. We've got podium interviews to do here, so let's go ahead and let's jump into it. Let's talk to third place Dylan Roberts first and foremost. Dylan, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Do you have a copy?
I gotcha.
A wild race here in Chicagoland. A little bit of everything. Some chaos early, some chaos late, some strategy, and some green flag pit stops in the middle. And that 8 car so close, but yet not able to find the race win here in Chicagoland. Walk us through it.
Oh, it was a ton of fun out there. I felt pretty lost coming into this during practice. I didn't feel very good about how I was driving and just didn't really understand how to make the pace out of the setup. Something clicked there though, like halfway through the first run. I think qualifying was kind of a bit of a lucky lap there, put me up front, so the track position helped. And then you start locking in as the race goes on. You figure things out. I was feeling really good with the pace there. I made a couple of mistakes when I was out in the lead, kind of cooked the right rear. We got a little bit tight the way we were battling off the pit stop or coming to the pit stop, sorry. And I just put it in the wall like 2 laps prior, had like 15 seconds of damage, just didn't turn right, but it was a ton of fun out there. Like we could run a lot of lanes. We had just comers and goers, tire wear, really good package here.
A lot of fun here. Obviously, we had the extra week off for Mother's Day. We're going to have some extra time off for next weekend as well. It seemed like everyone, the pace-wise, looked pretty outstanding. 41 cars at the finish. Only 2 retirements in this race. Obviously, it's a combination everyone is pretty familiar with. This is a pretty big mainstay in the Winstel calendar, especially with the Gen 4 here at Chicagoland. What was that extra week like for you? You talk about sort of figuring out things during the race. That extra week off, did it help sort of reset and sort of refresh your mind there going into that? And obviously we have another off week. Does that help a little bit as far as just managing the pacing of this season to sort of keep entering with a fresh mind and some extra energy there?
I think it's kind of a little bit of both, to be honest. It was nice after New Hampshire. I just didn't really have any pace there at the last race to kind of have the week off to refocus. But the flip side of that was, where I don't really race outside of Winstel. I've been feeling kind of rusty. Like I just don't feel right on the track. I'm making clumsy mistakes, like when I put myself on the wall there, and I'm just not quite as comfortable and confident as I usually am. So I think I might have to start doing some more stuff outside of this because obviously, like you said, we got another off week coming up. So that's just going to kind of make that feel worse. But at the same time, it's nice to have this little bit where it's spread out in the middle. We had so many races in a row. You have people that are getting fed up with how their season went. I know I had a phase like that as well. So it's nice to be able to refocus and kind of reframe your mind, focus in on the rest of the season. But I could use the on-track time, to be honest.
P3 here, 2 weeks off coming up, though. Pretty important break. We got the Coca-Cola 600, and then it looks like we're off for the Nashville Speedway night race the weekend afterwards. We'll be back for Watkins Glen June 7th for the next Winstel Cup Series event there to kick off the month of June. 3 weeks straight with Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, and Fontana in the car tomorrow on June 21st. A 2-week break, very, very helpful. Going to help everyone get ready for Motorsport Christmas next weekend. Before we let you go, what's the plans for next weekend?
Oh, I mean, we're going to be sitting in front of the TV, getting another monitor beside it. We're going to be watching all the racing, of course. I mean, where else would I be? It's the best day of the year.
going to be a lot of fun to see how things play out here. Before we let you go and let you enjoy the podium and get ready for the most wonderful weekend of the year for motorsports fans, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the podium tonight.
Thank you so much. I mean, as usual, just a huge shout out to everybody behind the league and behind the broadcast. I've been racing here for a long time now, coming up on 10 years, and it's just been such a constant to be able to come here on Sundays, have a couple hours where I'm just here, nothing else, and that's always great. It's always such a good time. We have such good setups, and I'm just really happy to be racing with the people that I'm racing with.
A phenomenal job here for Dylan Roberts. P3 laps led. That Budweiser Chevrolet looking really good out in front. We'll see him again in 2 weeks' time at Watkins Glen on June 7th. Dylan, congratulations, and we'll see you in New York.
Thank you.
That was Dylan Roberts, the third place driver. We move up to Thomas Lewandowski, joined in partway through the season, and the 80 car did not disappoint today, had a lot of pace in that 80 Chevrolet. Thomas, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Do you got a copy? If you got a copy, your mic is muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm here.
A fantastic job here in Chicagoland. We've seen the 80 car have pace throughout the races that you've been in, but this was one of the more complete efforts for the 80 car. Walk us through it, because it looked like an absolute blast in that 80 car today, especially working through the front and battling with the group that you were at the front with.
Yeah, I made it a little harder than I had to be because I screwed up the pit stop under yellow there and went from leading to like 6 and put me pretty far behind. Luckily though, on the green flag pit stop, I pretty much optimized pit road as best you can do it, and then gained a bunch of those spots back. And then it was just, I knew it'd be a hard time running down Tyler for the lead, but it was going to be close. Kind of came down to like if I could get past Dylan or not, which it took a little while to do that, so didn't really leave me enough time, but overall it was a great run.
You jumped in mid-season here. Obviously, scheduling conflicts prevented you from being there from the start of the season. That being said, you've been pretty persistent. You've had to qualify your way into the show every race you've done so far. What does this do for you as far as just helping that second place, getting close to that top 35? Is that the ultimate goal? And if not, if you're not going to be there for some of the races coming up here, we have Watkins Glen at the beginning of June. What does the rest of the season look like for the 80 car?
I'm pretty sure this will put me top 35 now. So, because I was like 38th, I think, coming into this race. So, it'd be good not to have to pre-qualify all the time. I haven't missed one, but it's nice to be, just be assured that you don't do that. And I should be racing all the races coming up because my work schedule changed. In fact, I have to leave work here in a few minutes, so I work overnights right now.
You did a phenomenal job here in Chicagoland. It's fantastic to see you back on the racetrack, and the 80 car looked fantastic out near the front of the field tonight. Before we let you go, and obviously let you focus on what's coming up here for you tonight and get ready for the most wonderful weekend of the motorsports calendar year next weekend, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you, the floor is yours. It's always fun seeing you on the racetrack. Congratulations for it.
Thanks a lot. And just shout out to everybody at Joliet and Larry Pace. He didn't have a great race today, but he's usually faster than me. And he had a little bit of an off day, but he's still my buddy, so shout out to him. And hope everyone has a good, safe, fun holiday weekend coming up.
Absolutely. Memorial Day weekend, a great time for motorsports. The Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 coming up next weekend for Real Life Motorsports. We'll be off to next Sunday to enjoy it. We hope you are as well. Thomas, congratulations on the podium here tonight, and we'll see you hopefully again in Watkins Glen.
All right, see you guys later. Bye.
That was Thomas Lewandowski, your second place finisher. We move on to the man of the hour, the victor here in Chicagoland, reunited with that number 4 machine that he helped win a championship with a couple seasons ago. Tyler Head is victorious here in Chicagoland. Tyler, this is coming from the ABN booth. What a wonderful race for that number 4 machine. And at the end of the day, that 4 car had the pace in all the right ways. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy to have been able to put together a complete race like that because I've made a fool of myself several times this year, just not not polished, very uncharacteristic mistakes, and put myself in some bad situations and finding my way to some, not necessarily my making every time, but I've made a lot of my own bad luck. So complete polar opposite tonight. Was quick. I think there were a couple of people out there that were quicker on front end speed, but I went into the race pretty confident that if we had long green flag runs, that I was going to be able to contend for a top 3 finish and the opportunity to talk to you and all the people listening and watching after the race. And as we approached that final pit stop, and I was able to keep on hounding Dylan there, and brawling with him and Christian Budd really took me back a couple years ago when we were running the 03 season, and it felt like we were finding each other that way week in and week out. Always fun racing with those two. But when we were getting to the end of that fuel run, and I was not only hounding Dylan, but able to get around him, I was like, okay, if we don't have a caution in the middle of this pit cycle, or, something strange happen, I feel really good about my chances to come out of pit road here, run my pace, not charge as much as I just did that last run, and see where we net out. And thankfully it was a winning effort.
A phenomenal job for the 4 camp here. Obviously, the race win helps out pretty significantly here in Chicagoland, but you hadn't been doing too awful bad, all things considered, before that point. We ask this question every time. It feels like you're not far away. Is the chase sort of in the question mark, or are you still kind of waiting to see how the summer plays out? Obviously, we have a couple weeks off here with Watkins Glen coming up. Are you looking at potentially trying to get into that chase line, or is it sort of just grab the results as you get them?
I know, based on the last couple of years, this is going to sound like, the boy who cried wolf all over again, but I'm expecting to be a bit more tangled up on Sunday nights this fall. We'll see if something changes again to, make it so that I'm able to run more than expected. But that's what I'm expecting. So I'm really just trying to come out here and race really hard with people that I, can trust and race hard with. And that was certainly the situation I was in tonight with Dylan and Bud especially. But, race hard and race clean. And I haven't done a very good job of the clean part through the first half of this year. So however many more I run this season, I just want to make sure the clean part comes through, and the finishes and, the fun will take care of itself at that point.
A phenomenal job for Tyler Head here in Chicagoland. He's up to 18th in points. If he does end up making more of the races coming into the summer, he'll have a chance to go for the top 12 in points as the summer comes closer and closer to view. Before we let you go and let you obviously get ready for the greatest weekend in motorsports next weekend for Memorial Day, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Obviously, Winstel Group, they always travel, whether they're traveling to Atlanta, whether they're going to the Coke 600 in Charlotte. So obviously safe travels, regardless of what's happening there. But if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Just the usual shout outs, everybody, from Brennan on down, Christian Budd, the rest of the admin team that put a lot of work in to make these events happen. Emily working on the setups, taking a bunch of conflicting feedback, I think, every week. You for putting on these broadcasts, and it's a lot of fun to come back and watch them through and feel like a trip back 19 years in the past, and everybody that races and makes these Sunday nights so fun.
A lot of fun to be had here. It was a lot of fun watching the night here in Chicagoland. Tyler Head victorious in Illinois. We'll hopefully see him again in 2 weeks' time when we head to New York for a race at Watkins Glen. Tyler, congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you very much.
That was Tyler Head, your race winner here in Chicagoland tonight. A phenomenal job for him. For those watching on YouTube, a direct link is posted to the ABN Victory Lane post-race show coming up here in just a few moments. Our YouTube portion of the broadcast has concluded. We hope you join us there as well. For those on Patreon, stay tuned. We'll have more interviews coming up here in just a moment. But for those on YouTube, join us again tomorrow night, 8 p.m. for the HDL Cup Series season opener, the HDL Daytona 500, the 8th edition, coming up in less than 24 hours. On behalf of Winstel, the Winstel Cup Series, all its partners, and everyone here at ABN for YouTube, so long and good night. For those on Patreon, we'll see you in a couple minutes. Stay tuned.